everyone. You'll notice that, unlike all of my other content, this episode did not open with cinematics and some lore information about why we're doing what we're doing in this episode. Unfortunately, Saffier is dead. I genuinely enjoy this game, and it sucks me in, but many of the things done in the episodes can become quite menial and don't make for good content, so I'll often plan a project and give updates on its construction in an episode, but in between, do minor things that wouldn't be very interesting to put on YouTube. This led me to getting pretty ahead of myself, with a further 3 episodes recorded after this one. However, in attempting to record cinematics for the beginning of and end of this episode, I found I could no longer open Saffier save game, nor any save game for Saffier. Honestly, this is less heart-wrenching for me than it would be if, say, Octon became corrupted. Behind the scenes, I've been working on gameplay for Episode 8 for some time, and all of the mistakes I've made in Saffier thus far, and in the next episodes, have reared their head. The city is just horribly inefficient at almost everything it does, and honestly, I was kind of wanting to restart the series anyway, but couldn't, because, you know, I'd already started the series. So what comes next? I don't know. I have 3 more episodes I can edit down and release, but if I do that, episode 7 will be the end of Saffier. I can't keep going with this current series. I can't open a save game. Alternatively, I've been giving a lot of thought to a full restart, and beginning a Saffier Redux, if you will, where I'd start in an earlier time period and go from there. Once this episode is uploaded, I intend on creating a community poll on what should be the next project in Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. I really do enjoy this game, and I find it really fun to edit down and upload onto the channel. And even though it doesn't get as much attention as Octon does, I have a good time with it, so I wanna keep putting it out there. Sorry to start this episode off on such a downer, but I hope Saffier will continue living on in some way. That being said, thank you for sticking with me, and on to the video. Folks, welcome back to the Republic of Saffier and our beautiful city of Martinstadt. It has been a minute since I last showed you all the city. It is now 1963 in-game, equivalent to 354 post-Draconas in lore, and a little bit has been done since the end of the last episode. I've expanded out the oil field, adding a few new derricks and expanding out the power to go along with it, including a few new pumping transfer stations just to be able to connect everything up to our train station. Speaking of trains, we have our oil boy going to the customs house back and forth now regularly. In the last cinematic, actually, it got stuck shortly after I showed off the train route, so had to fix that. But anyway, you can see, though, as we are offloading the oil, our finances are not looking good whatsoever. I just built these couple of buildings here because we were dealing with some issues with sewage. Speaking of, need to sign these over here. Yeah, so we've been dealing with some issues with sewage. As a result, I built a new technical services building to hold a few more sewage trucks to go around the place, but we are hemorrhaging money and fast. If we don't want our nation to go bankrupt before it's even off the ground, we need to do something about that. And at the moment, I'm truthfully not entirely sure what. We have our railroad builders building railroads, of course. I've planned out a bridge over here. We built a new residential district. I mean, things are good for the people of Saffier, but for monetarily, we are really struggling. And I'm debating how I want to do this, so give me a minute. So I pulled up the topographic map here because I just wanted to showcase how severe the terrain over this way is. Pretty much the end of Martinstadt has to be right about here where these hills get close to the river, because otherwise there's not going to be room to fit infrastructure down here, especially if we want to build a town down by the mouth of the river on west by. So I'm thinking I want to relocate all of my construction materials and storage over here, and we're going to build a more permanent, higher capacity storage system, along with a means to be able to import and export construction materials back over into the border. I'm thinking it wouldn't be entirely hard to set up a gravel industry, perhaps a lumber industry as well. That way we don't have to import those. But as for steel, bricks, and prefab panels, I don't believe we can produce those in-house yet. Bricks require coal to produce, of which we have no... we have to import all of our coal if we want to do that. And checking the prices over here, if I can find coal. Yeah, coal itself is 14.43 dollars per unit, whereas bricks are only 25.03 per unit. So it's not like we're paying our workers it's not like we're paying our workers. So theoretically, we could run that at a profit. But I'm not entirely sure if it's worth it when you factor in costs like refueling the train and purchasing the train needed to run that back and forth. What I think I want to do is start importing fabric. Because if I import fabric along with chemicals, then I can produce clothing. And if we go back over into the guy right here, clothing, if I can find it, sells for a ludicrous amount of money. $1,526 per unit. Yeah, that is pretty damn high. Now, chemicals, of course, cost quite a bit, but it's not a one-to-one ratio. We don't need a ton of chemicals to produce a ton of clothing. So I think that is our best industry, and I've seen that recommended time and time again. Additionally, because we have such a high unemployment rate, we could also import crops to start producing fabric in-house. I think eventually I want to start an agriculture industry, but I don't think we're going to be doing that today. So, I suppose let's start with planning. So I made this railway viaduct. I've been trying to... I suppose I'll tell the construction boys to start building this, actually. But yeah, I produced this... I planned out this railway viaduct over the river, because I didn't want to have to go all the way around, essentially. And I think we have plenty of space over here to do some... Not sure yet. Let me plan this out. I'll do this in time lapse. Alrighty, so I've come out with this monstrosity. I'm not sure if I like this layout or not. It certainly takes up a lot more space than I would have liked. But yeah, essentially we have this railway bridge that comes over here and goes along on the main line, and then we have this spur that splits off. One goes into this cargo station, which feeds into a warehouse, where I can drop off materials for a fabric and clothing factory that are linked to each other. I also have a loop around right here that goes into these four medium-sized open storages, and this is for where I'm going to be relocating my bricks, boards, prefab panels, and steel. It's just across this bridge here, so I imagine the construction sector won't have that much trouble getting to it. However, it is a little bit annoying with this layout, because if I'm building something here, then they have to come down and around at the moment. However, I probably will be building a bridge, so they just have to do that loop there. It's not ideal, but it's good enough. So, I have this set, all of these set to high priority as well. So, once the construction sector gets done with this bridge, they'll start building these roads over here. And once this is done, I can start importing workers and materials to start making clothes. Alrighty, now we wait. Just a little bit of an update. We finally got our bridge built, although it's a little low, so I think we more built a dam, apparently. But, we've also started building our railway viaduct. It is causing some issues with our oil train, wherever it is right now. Yeah, I've lost it. The railway construction units don't get along well with the oil train, it seems, so I'm having to kind of micromanage the signals around here. But things are getting done, and as we build these roadways across the river, we're inching closer and closer to being able to build these guys. So I've noticed something while the boys are building these buildings. This guy needs a wastewater outflow, and that is no bueno. However, it does give us a, something caught on fire. Not the construction office. Do we have fire trucks on the way? Okay, good. Oh, but they're dealing with the snow. If we lose this, I'm going to be royally pissed off. Come on, you can do it. Oh, they're caught in the snow, though. Okay. We got it. That was scary for a second, but, that did do a number on, the wear and tear of this building. We may need to build a second construction office to rebuild that at some point, but that's neither here nor there. Because this needs a wastewater outflow, it presents a very good, time to attempt to build a sewage system. So this is a small sewage treatment plant. It is close enough to... Ooh, we're going to have to drag the power network out here, but we'll do that in a minute. Let's do something like this. So this treats the sewage, and then dumps it out into the river. Which is completely, environmentally friendly, I assure you. But let's get this down, completely disrespecting the topography. And then we'll build our sewage discharge. As close as we can. That way we don't have to spend more money on pipes than we have to. And we'll just drag a path out here. Let's see. So that'll be built, and let's now work on our sewage system. This is going to be a pain in the ass. Alright. Oh, also we're in our 5th year, so welcome 355 post-Draconis. Alright, so there's 2 outlets here. that I see. Presumably there's a third right there. There is. Yep, so let's build one here. Because I'm sure we'll build stuff around here. We'll build one out here. We'll build a couple here. I know, this is riveting commentary. Do. I apologize for not talking much. This is quite simple. You know, we're just building these switches along here pretty often, unfortunately, but it's what we have to do. And then we will also build one here. And then we'll connect them up accordingly. So we're probably about to have to build a bunch of these... I forget what to call them, but risers, pumps, that's the word. Because as you can see here, maybe, it needs a slope in order to be built. Which is all fine and dandy until we want to do something like this and go across the river. The tunnel is above the terrain, so we have to drop it down, but then when we do that, we have to pump it back up. Which is annoying, to say the least. But we'll figure it out. So those two are connected there, so we can do a medium pipe down to... let's say this switch, it's just closer. So, this connects here. Can we connect this up here? Building in the way. Hey. Building in the way. Oh, the... Damn. It's gonna be tricky. Had another fire, apparently. We can just navigate our way around this. Then, yep, we're gonna have to pump it up. So let's bring it here, roughly. And maybe? Nope. Right, so this is pretty simple. This one's not that big of a slope, so we just do one of these sewage pumps. It goes from -5 meters to roughly surface level. So just like that, and boom. And then finally, let's connect up this right here. This should be easy because it's going downhill. And then that's also easy, that's great. So that means this is roughly this entire upper sewage system done. For the most part. Pipe spaghetti. We love it. Those connected? Yes, that's the pump. Alright, so this is going to be tricky. Let's go to -15 meters below the surface. We're going to try to build this right on the edge of the river. That way we can grab one of our sewage pipes. And that works. Just barely. Then, hopefully, can we just do this? Some other infrastructure's in the way. Ours popper slope. So we're going to go roughly like that. Does it not like being under the bridge? Some other infrastructure's in the way. I don't get the problem. I'll be honest. So let's cancel this then, and we'll have to do a more expensive 10-meter pipe, or a 10-meter depth. Get rid of this pathway here. So what we're going to do is wiggle this around. Just like that. Except we're actually going to connect them. Hopefully, that is. There we go. And then connect this up like this. Then this to this. And then this boy. Nope, we have to pump it again. We'll do something like this, maybe? Let's see if we can get away with a 5-meter one, because it's just cheaper. Perfect. And... nope, we need a 10-meter. Gosh darn it. We've been meaning to do this for a while. I was just hoping that we would get away with it for a little bit longer. Do a 10-meter, get rid of the pathway. Can't delete it. Okay, well, we'll put it somewhere else then. Okay. Just like that. Boosh. Boosh. Then this simply comes out here and feeds in there. Alright, this is going to be ludicrously expensive and take probably a whole year to build. But it'll be worth it in the end. As expensive and unfortunate as that is. However, we also need to bring water over. Water is easier because we have our water tower, which is great. So we'll simply go underground. We can see that we already have a water switch there, and I already placed one. Look at me, I'm so smart. We'll build a big flow pipe. Just like this, hopefully. And then this will go like that. And just for posterity, we will also build a substation for drinking water. Just like that. And we'll leave that gap open in case we need to expand out the water network this way. Alrighty. Last things last is electricity. If I can find it here. There we go. So, I'm debating how to handle this, because this is going to require a lot of voltage. So, I think I want to do a medium voltage switch. One of the big ones, too. And I'm going to try to drag 2 power lines across. If I can fit it in. Honestly, I'd like to do a high voltage line over there almost. I'm not going to do that, though. That's just too expensive, and that's not going to be that high-powered of an industrial area, I hope. And then connected to that, we will do not 1, but 2 of these large medium voltage power lines. Why? Because each one of these has a power capacity of 2.3 megawatts, and I want to get around 5 across the river. So this is certainly... this is not optimized, I want to make that clear, whatsoever. But it should get the job done, I hope. This is ugly as sin. Is there any chance that we could fit a line through here? I highly doubt it. Yeah, no. We'll have to go across first. And back over. That's unfortunate, but it's what we gotta do. Then from here, we will have not 1, but 2 substations. Yeah, debating how to do it briefly. Build 1 here. And then a second here by the sewage outlet, or sewage treatment plant. And we will go underground with the highest voltage wires. Simply just connect those up. Pipe spaghetti. Doesn't it look beautiful? Don't answer that. Alrighty, with that done, we'll let it run once again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the middle of summer in 355 post Draconis. Um, we have finished our fabric factory, which is now already producing fabric that we're storing here in our warehouse. Additionally, we have our clothing factory already done. Unfortunately, we're still waiting on the water system and power supply to get routed over here. Our sewage treatment facility is also finished, although it is completely unconnected to the planned sewage system at the moment. None of the pipes have been finished. And our outlet has not been finished either. However, progress is being made. Our rail viaduct is almost completed, which means that the rail builders will soon be coming over here to be building our materials yard. And yeah, stuff is coming along. I've also set up our logistics here at the border to be dropping off all the required materials. However, if we come over here to our covered trucks, you can see that they're getting quite busy with everything. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. As summer approaches its end, our construction sector is still extremely busy, as you can see. However, we now have workers filtering into our fabric and clothing factories, both of which are operating. We are importing crops and chemicals here to be producing fabric, which is being stored in our warehouse, which is then being pulled into the clothing factory to produce clothes. We also have trucks being parked right here, loading up with clothes. That way they can then go export it over at the customs house. In other news, we are working on a new residential district as our unemployment rate has absolutely collapsed. Um, we are desperate for workers as we continue our construction frenzy and building up our industrial sector. Our resource yard here is almost complete. I made an error here, which I'm working on fixing now, but things are progressing smoothly. Ladies and gentlemen, with our sewage system now fully completed, and pipe spaghetti stronger than it ever has been before, I believe we're going to call it an episode. In this episode, we managed to do this entire district over here, along with starting an entirely new residential district. We're building fabric, or making fabric from crops that we import, and then using that very fabric to create clothes, which we then use to export in these vehicles right here. We're still not quite break even. We don't have the population required to go full throttle with production yet. But it's certainly something I want to... That's why we're building this residential district here, really. Alrighty. If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. I really do appreciate the support. We just crossed 300 subscribers at the time of making this episode, which is a really big deal to me. I know I'm really tiny in the grand scheme of things, but it means a lot to have you all tune in and follow along. Alrighty, folks. Please join my Discord if you haven't already, and I also have a Patreon where I upload some previews and I have the save game from Octon episode 10 up there as well. Alrighty. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good one.